We can teach any child to perform at very high levels. And that's why I'm passionate about it. It works. Direct instruction has a very long history. It was created initially in the 1970s. The primary creator is a professor at the University of Oregon, Siegfried Engelmann.
7 plus how many equal 11? Yeah, how'd you work that out? You got 7, you want to get to 11?
And what he and his colleagues did is, when addressing the question, what shall we teach? In what sequence do we teach it? They took a logical and also empirical analysis, and what they were trying to accomplish was, how do we get children to generalize from what's been taught to what hasn't yet been taught?
Can I erase the R and put a 4 there now? No. Why couldn't I erase the R there and put a 4? What would it say?
54.
What do we want to say?
5 times.
5 times.
Since then, direct instruction has been continuously developed and improved upon. Anything that's been in development for over 40 years and produces the results that it's been producing from the very beginning is really, actually, it's state of the art.
Direct instruction is a research-based teaching model. It's teacher-led, it's scripted, it's carefully planned lessons that are presented in small learning increments.
Divide the complete subject from the complete predicate.
The basis is, with clear instruction, you can eliminate student misinterpretations with an end result of much greater learning potential.
One of the critical elements of direct instruction is the implementation of a highly developed and researched set of teaching skills that are known to be highly effective, known to produce very high levels of student achievement, with a program of content that spans the entire K-5 sequence.
Get ready.
On April 1st, Rochelle flew.
The more you know, the more you can know. And the more you know, the more you can know on your own. If we get them to the point where they are at mastery on all of the skills, then they have a foundation, they have a core of knowledge that they can now build upon to go further.
Does the next morphograph begin with anything except I? Everybody?
Yes.
Yes. So let's spell loneliness together. Get ready.
Loneliness. Lonelines.
Direct instruction is primarily used in K-5, and what it's doing is setting up a baseline for future learning. So if we're going to learn complex things, we need to know how to read, we need to know phonics, we need reading comprehension, we need to know how to compute, and we need to know those basics really well. So think about if you were driving a car. If you don't know all the basics, you can't go out on the superhighway. So direct instruction in K-5 prepares the student to move into classical, more complex learning.
Go ahead and get your stuff cleaned up and packed up, and you can get in line.
When you start out in a kindergarten classroom, you're going to see a high level of support and scaffolding in place with our instruction, and even just throughout the day. And as the children move from kindergarten to first, second, all the way up to fifth, we're slowly decreasing that amount of support and scaffolding, and the transition is being made for those learners to become more independent and to lead their own instruction.
One of the biggest things that direct instruction develops is a rock-solid work ethic. The children learn. If they work hard, they will continue to learn. They will learn quickly. They will enjoy it, to the point where working hard toward a goal, accomplishing challenging things, becomes rewarding in and of itself. And by work ethic, I just don't mean nose to the grindstone. What I really mean is seeing the value of hard work. It's a functional relationship. Well, how do you learn the value of it? Well, you experience it every day in a direct instruction lesson. These are the things that I know how to do to get what I want, to do what I want, to be what I want. The kids work very hard. The first thing that happens to a student when they enter Thales is there will be a placement test for each of the programs that Thales teaches. Once the students are initially placed, that doesn't mean they're going to stay with that group or at that place forever. As the students progress, it happens with some frequency. They have an aha moment and they get it.
And then they just take off. And then we're with them. We don't hold them back. If a child is excelling in reading, we're going to test that child to go to the next level.
Who tossed this bottle through my window seat swing?
Good reading, Reagan.
Oftentimes we find students who are excellent at math, but they struggle with reading fluency, or vice versa. With direct instruction and the way we group at Thales, they can go to an above grade level math class but still be in an on grade level reading class. And we're meeting their needs in all subjects, and they're feeling successful in those subjects.
It's not uncommon at Thales for students to complete this sequence by the 5th grade. So what happens to those guys? They just go on to bigger and better things.
We're able to offer literature courses that typically don't happen until middle school. They're taking Math Course 1, which is also typically a 6th or 7th grade course that's algebra. So because we can offer above grade level courses, they don't just fall off the cliff after they finish Reading Mastery 5. We have other courses in place to continue to challenge them.
The subordinate clause comes first.
Very good. It expresses a complete thought.
In any one particular lesson, only about 10 to 20% of that lesson is new material.
It is a translation.
The other 80% is review, application, practice in a variety of contexts.
We'll talk about a concept, we'll master it, and then we'll move on. And then maybe 2, 3, 20 lessons later, that concept is coming back.
And you see it. Each child will build upon what they've learned, and then one day they're reading a word and it's huge to them. And then the next day they build on that second word. You see the results fast.
Get ready. Good job. Eyes up here. Individual turns. Get ready. Leah. Beautiful.
Carla looked at Aunt and smiled. Okay, she said, more to come.
Oh boy, this is not the end of the cheese.
Each of the lessons in the areas of reading, language arts, mathematics, and spelling are highly specified to the point of being scripted.
They went to the park.
Now, the script is nothing more than a lesson plan. It's a highly developed, highly refined, very precise lesson plan, so that by controlling the fine details, we're going to make every minute count.
Finley. Carson.
Stop, Carla said.
Charlotte.
Look at your window.
So let's all read this problem together, okay? Listen to me do it first. $3.
Because direct instruction is already pre-scripted for us, it allows us as teachers to have the time and the ability to go and find other resources that we can use to maybe pique the child's creativity and give them extra real-world examples that they can use in the classroom that expands on what the lesson was itself.
You don't just read from a book. You have to live out that book by adding new games or motivating them. No need to change the script. It's proven, it works, but just make it fun for the kids.
Woo, good job.
Sometimes they sing the lessons, and students love that because they learn and they gain confidence. And it's fun participating with the group.
The valley where nobody goes, there's a wishy-washy washerwoman washing her clothes. She goes, ooh, ah, she goes, ooh,
We have a structured part of our day with our reading, math, grammar, spelling, where we're able to be more creative and have our hands on and do lots of different activities is with our history and science. We make sure that we have a healthy balance so that we are meeting the needs of different types of learners, but still staying true to our direct instruction roots.
One famous scientist said that creativity begins at the edge of the known. What's that imply? We have to know something to be creative.
If you don't have that foundation, it's very difficult to get the thoughts or the creativity that's in your mind out in a way that others can understand what you're trying to bring across. They can do that. They can write phenomenally. They can speak very well.
Right now, we're learning about figurative language, and my students can rattle off what a hyperbole is, what a metaphor is, what a simile is, what alliteration is, which is great. But now, they're able to take all of that knowledge and transfer it into something greater.
Direct instruction places a high priority on active student engagement, active student involvement in their own learning.
When you walk into a classroom that uses direct instruction, you will hear choral group response.
As was predicted, verb was R-O-U-G-H.
Perfect job, boys and girls. R-O-U-G.
There's no sitting there mindlessly absorbing knowledge and maybe making one or two responses in a 45-minute period of time. No, I mean, with the little kids, 5-10 responses per minute. With the older kids, probably 20 to 50 responses per 45 minutes.
I can just take a look out to see who's participating, who's not, who might be struggling a little. Then I can help that person one-on-one.
All errors are corrected, and they are corrected immediately. So it does not happen that an error occurs and the teacher moves on.
Every child who can read well. So if every girl can read well, you're going to circle every girl.
What kind of, yes, what kind of, exactly. Subordinate conjunction.
Another benefit is that we have an individual turn.
Whose, W-H-O-S-E, whose.
Perfect. This ensures that all students are engaged and they're on task, they're paying attention, and when they are called on, they know and they respond.
So if you'll note, when you go into a direct instruction class, you will see all students paying attention at all times. They're engaged in the work. The teacher presents the work in a way that the student can understand and can learn.
If there's more than one way to interpret a message, it is guaranteed that every possible interpretation will be made by someone. Well, how do you know who made the right interpretation and who made the wrong interpretation? This is why the students need to be so active. The teacher needs that kind of feedback. Well, how's the teacher going to get that feedback if the students aren't highly active, highly responding, frequently responding, out loud, either individually or as a group?
The way that it's all set up and formatted, there really isn't any room for misinterpretation in the way that we give so many explicit examples. Like a miracle. What does miraculous mean?
Like a miracle.
Would it be miraculous if it snowed tonight?
Yes.
Yes, it would. Another thing that we will do is to make sure that we show them things that are not examples of those so that they see explicitly what it is and explicitly what it isn't.
One of the things that direct instruction does is develop the proper role of the student and the teacher, mutual respect, which is imperative. It also uses protocols which become familiar to the teacher and the student, and it aids in the learning process.
First, I model for them what they need to do. Exaggeration is another type of figurative language. When you exaggerate, you stretch the truth. And then we go on to lead, where we'll practice that skill again. I will lead them through what we need to do, but they're participating. All right, eyes on me. What type of language is an exaggeration, everybody?
Figurative language.
Good, and we know that another word for an exaggeration is a what? Get ready.
Hyperbole.
Very good, a hyperbole.
And then we test. Okay, did you master these concepts? Are you ready to move on?
Describe how long Frank really worked. Julian.
A long time.
Good. He worked for a long time that afternoon. Very good. That's all that means.
If yes, we'll keep going. If not, we'll take a step back and we'll redo it. And then we'll test again because we will not move on until that concept is mastered.
There is a saying that practice makes perfect. Actually, practice makes permanent. Perfect practice makes perfect. So there's a lot of practice. It's differentiated but continuous. And what that does is it locks in the skills, locks in the knowledge.
While we're ensuring mastery and the kids start to feel confident, when you feel confident in something, then you enjoy doing it. And when you enjoy doing it, you want to do it more.
It's not magic. Direct instruction maximizes confidence and self-esteem because we teach the children to be competent, very, very competent. So they know what they know, and they know they're good at it because they get that demonstrated to them every day in the feedback.
Mary, can you spell glove for us?
Glove.
You got it, Mary. Glove.
The feedback that direct instruction provides is helpful not only to the students, but also to the teachers to drive instruction, and then to the parents so that they have confidence in knowing that kids are mastering the material and being successful every day at school.
There's a fantastic tool that we use here called RenWeb, which is an app on your phone or a website that you can visit, and it has a listing of the children's grades. It has it broken down from their tests, their quizzes, their projects, so you at any point know how your child is doing. So there is no surprise at the end of the track.
I don't believe it. She said
The curriculum that we use with DI has assessments built in every 5 lessons. The assessments are a measurement tool for teachers to drive our instruction. So the students aren't being penalized if they're not being successful. It's letting us as a teacher reflect and know what we need to tweak or change so that they will be successful the next day.
We have data meetings. We have those monthly here at school as a whole campus, and we just kind of look over it with our administrators, and we talk about where we think our students are. Maybe we need to move them to a different level so that they're appropriately placed.
It's an ongoing process. We're always monitoring that.
We get results. And if you look consistently over a period of time, kindergarten students come in, they can barely walk in the door, they can barely sit down, and then you see them progress as they learn sounds and they learn to decode. By the time they progress into the 3rd and 4th grade, they're doing very sophisticated work, which is going to prepare them to be excellent students in the long term.
And then when they get to the middle school, they already have the basics. No one's trying to teach them how to spell or how to write or how to construct a paragraph. We've moved beyond that. The kids know how to do it. They know how to do it well. So now they're able to take their thoughts, they're able to verbalize them, they're able to write them. They couldn't do that without the basics.
I started teaching with direct instruction in kindergarten, and when I saw my 5-year-old kindergartners reading by Christmas, I was sold. You just can't argue with the success.
we know without a doubt that when we send them off to high school and college, that they can be an independent learner because of the tools that direct instruction has given them.
Direct instruction establishes a firm foundation of learning that helps students gain confidence in learning and develop a love for learning. And that love for learning will last throughout their lifetime and will help them become great thinkers and great future leaders.
What's with you guys? Have you been working on this?
No.
Haven't you? Haven't you been? Who's been thinking at home? You? You've been thinking. Well, that's it. See what happens when you get thinking? What happens when you think?
You get smart.
You get smart, and that is true.